Hello everybody, welcome to another review of a movie, Trusteft Movie Night Review. This time I'm going to talk about the movie Frankenstein from 2014 if I remember correctly. I watched this movie last night on TV. I'm not entirely sure if it was a cut down version or the full thing. Yeah. Now, if you are in a hurry and want to know if this is worth getting or not, my opinion is that it is worth getting. In fact, I know that sometime in the future I will get the Blu-ray of this. Now, about the movie. While the story is not entirely original, you see there are some similarities to, Frankenstein, obviously, but also Dracula and Underworld, the series of movies. And also, I would say there are some similarities to the movie Van Helsing from 2006 or something, I don't remember. But that's not bad, unless of course you hated those movies. The story is very good for what it is. There are of course some leaps of logic, but since you are talking about Frankenstein and stuff like that, demons and angels, because there are those, kind of, in this movie, then we are talking obviously about leaps of logic. But if we're talking about specific problems in the story, in the script, then I would say there are one or two where you say, nah. Still, they don't ruin the movie, they don't hurt it enough to reduce the grade I'm gonna give to the movie at the end. Alright, what can I say about the story without any spoilers? Well, there is a version of the Frankenstein story at first, the intro if you like, which then turns into something different, something very Underworld-like. There is a big war against the bad guys and the good guys. Although the good guys are not that good, and the bad guys are pretty bad. And we find right in the middle the main hero in this movie, the Frankenstein monster, or as he's going to be called later on, Adam Frankenstein. He's very much an anti-hero, and as anti-heroes goes, he is one of the best. He's very likable, not because he is a nice guy, but because he is so true, so real, and I completely feel for him. I believe he is one of the best anti-heroes ever in any film. I liked him from the very beginning, even though, you'll see. Now, let's go to a little bit more technical, other than the story, of course. Very good acting from all major actors. Some of the lesser characters are perhaps not as good as they could be. I'm talking about the acting. But thankfully, we're talking about like a few seconds here and there, so nothing to affect the movie. I would say, as a matter of percentage, about the same as in most movies. Great cinematography, The photography is beautiful for the most part. Great shots everywhere, including the action sequences, which are very well directed, well, choreographed. Yeah. Apart from one, I believe, fight where for few seconds, it was. You could see it was on fast forward. Yeah, it was. Oh, come on, sorry. You could see it was on fast forward. You could see that this was a bit cheaply done. They could resort it or do something else about this. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but in general, everything else was spot on. What else? CGI. There's plenty of CGI in this movie, from the very beginning to the very end, and it goes definitely. It improves every minute, every shot. It starts okay. There are a couple of CGI shots where they were not perfect, and you can see that average at best. But thankfully, there are very few in terms of. I'm talking about the average CGI in the movie. For the most part, they're quite good. Good enough and a little bit more. And for the last part of the movie, they are fantastic. Very, very good. Now, sound effects, all are very good again. And what I appreciate especially is the voice levels and the sound effects and music do not actually make a blend where you cannot figure out what they're saying. Something that is unfortunate, but it is something that happens quite often in many action movies. There's no such problem here. All the dialogue is very clear, and the sound effects, everything, it's perfect. It's perfect. Very well done. Music, subtle but fitting to the movie, and definitely you don't feel like this is too much or they don't have any music here. No, it's at the right amount of music for a movie, for an action movie with this setting. One of the things that I should have mentioned earlier about the story, but yeah, I didn't. This movie does not have a love story, a romance, like, sexual tension and humor between the male and the female and all that. None of that. And I love this. I love it. You see, there are two main, well, no, more than two main characters, but you can see that any relationship between the main characters is taken from a very mature way, but also they're acting in their best. They're acting like friends or warriors who respect each other, not someone who is going to have sex with each other quite soon. And I like this in this kind of movie, because when you have a love story fitting like there, like up the exhaust pipe, it feels very fake. Overall, this is a great movie. One of my favorite movies. I have one of the favorite movies I've watched in the last few years, especially this year. I would say if you like movies like Underworld, Van Helsing, uh, Dracula films, stuff like that, it is worth watching, and you're probably going to like it. Final grade, final mark for this movie, I will give it easily 6 oranges out of 8 watermelons. Worth watching, worth buying. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.